Chapter 5, The Pact Reforged. Smoke rose over Silver Reach. The scent of blood, fire, and ash clung to the wind. The battle had ended, but no one could call it victory. The walls stood cracked. The streets were littered with corpses, werewolf, vampire, and human alike. Seraphine stood over the tower's edge, her armor scorched, her halberd trembling in her grip. The crucible star, dimmed after the final burst of divine energy, rested in her hands like a sleeping flame. It had saved the city, but its light was fading fast. Below, Rurik and Valor lay among shattered stones. Both bloodied. Both breathing. Miraculously. Sir Emmerich approached, sword slick with gore. "We've repelled them, for now. But my scouts report movement from the west. Something worse is coming." Elric appeared, clutching a scroll. His eyes were haunted. "It's Malric. He marches from the catacombs beneath Ebonholt. The city will fall within days unless we act now." Seraphine turned to Valor and Rurik. "You want to destroy each other? Fine. But if Ebonholt falls, we all die. Vampire, werewolf, and man alike." Rurik bared his teeth, still reeling. "I won't march beside that thing." Valor rose slowly. "Nor I beside a mutt. But, even I know Malric's army is not of this world. The eclipsed host does not take prisoners. It leaves only silence." Seraphine stepped between them. "Then choose. Rebuild the old war and perish, or forge a new alliance and fight back the tide." A long silence followed. And then, Rurik stood. He extended a bloodied hand to Valor. "We are not allies. But we have a common enemy." Valor hesitated. Then clasped it. "Until Malric is dust." Atop the throne of Ebonholt, King Aldrich stared at the horizon. A black tide moved across the land, an army of revenants, skeletal warlords, and pale knights. The sky above them boiled with red clouds, and the sun faltered behind unnatural storms. "By the gods," Aldrich whispered. "Is this the end of days?" Beside him, Marius, the high priest, dropped to his knees in prayer. But the doors burst open. Seraphine entered with the survivors of Silver Reach, Emmerich, Elric, Kale. And behind them marched two armies, werewolves cloaked in furs and bone armor, and vampires robed in shadows. Aldrich rose, eyes narrowing. "You brought monsters into my court." "They're not monsters anymore," Seraphine said. "They're our only chance." Valor stepped forward. "We offer our swords. Our fangs. Our dead. In exchange for survival." Rurik growled, "And when this is over, we will discuss the future, on even ground." Aldrich stared between them. Rage warred with reason. Then he nodded, slowly. "Then let the banners be raised. Let it be known, the pact of flame and shadow is reborn." Preparations began. In the old forges beneath the castle, vampires and human smiths reforged ancient weapons. Werewolves trained with knights, sharing their brutal ways of war. Mages enchanted battlements, while shamans howled prayers to the moon. Elric and Marius worked day and night decoding the final rites needed to weaken Malric. The answer lay not in swords, but in sealing the breach he rose from. "The crucible star is key," Elric said. "Its light is our only hope to close the veil." "But it's dying," Seraphine said, staring into its flickering glow. Marius nodded gravely. "There's one way to reignite it. A sacrifice." "Of what kind?" "Not of blood. Of legacy." As the armies gathered before the gates of Ebonholt, Malric's horde appeared on the horizon like a living shadow. The undead general stood at the front, wreathed in a black cloak. His eyes blazed with unholy fire, and his armor was etched with runes older than time. "You built your kingdom on lies," Malric called. Now watch it fall into silence. Aldrich stepped forward. Then come and take it. The final battle began. Waves of undead crashed against the walls like an ocean of bone. Siege towers moved without wheels, carried by ghostly tendrils. Revenants climbed like spiders, their blades singing with curses. On the left flank, werewolves tore through ranks of skeletons, using raw strength and speed. On the right, vampires flanked with deadly precision, fading in and out of shadows to strike at vital points. Seraphine led the charge from the center, Crucible Star alight once more, its power renewed, though she had told no one how. Only Kael had seen her kneel in the crypt the night before, speaking to the spirits of her order, offering up her own name and title. In exchange, the star had blazed anew. She was no longer Seraphine the Paladin. She was the flame reborn. She cleaved through the dead with righteous fury, her halberd like a comet of light. At her side, Emmerich fought with savage grace, shielding her from all sides. Elric. The seal, she shouted. Elric, atop the gate tower, began the ritual. His voice rang out, thunderous and ancient, calling upon old gods and forgotten powers. The crucible star pulsed in time with the words. But Malric had seen enough. He flew toward the gate like a storm, his blade raised high. Seraphine met him. Their clash was cataclysmic. Light and darkness warred in every stroke. Each blow split stone, each cry cracked the sky. You cannot stop death. Malric hissed. I am not here to stop it, Seraphine said. I am here to end you. Elric completed the incantation. The crucible star rose into the air, its light blinding. Malric screamed as beams of pure radiance pierced his form, unraveling the dark threads that held him together. With one final strike, Seraphine drove her halberd through his heart. The general of the eclipsed host exploded into light and ash. The undead faltered. Then crumbled. The breach was sealed. The war was over. Chapter 6, Ashes and Dawn. The battlefield was silent. The wind, once filled with howls and screams, now carried only the rustle of fallen banners. Ash drifted from the sky like snow, blanketing the ruined fields before Ebenholt. Here and there, groans of the wounded pierced the quiet, but the battle, the war, was done. Seraphine stood at the center, her armor scorched and dented, the crucible star hovering above her palm, now a quiet orb of soft golden light. It pulsed gently, no longer a weapon, but a symbol, of sacrifice, of unity, and of what had been won at such terrible cost. Rurik limped forward, blood matting the fur at his shoulder. His once fiery eyes were subdued, thoughtful. Many of my kin are dead, he said. But many more would have died if not for you. Valor approached from the other side, his cloak torn, his sword broken at the hilt. Strange, isn't it? That in fighting together, we learned how alike we are. Seraphine looked at both of them. The question now is, what comes next? King Aldric's coronation chamber had not seen such gathering in 100 years. The human lords were present, bloodied but proud. Rurik stood flanked by his surviving pack leaders. Valor brought his night guard, cloaked in ceremonial black trimmed with silver. They met at a single round table in the center of the throne room, no thrones, no steps between them. Aldrich spoke first. Before this war, I would have hanged both of you without a second thought. You, beasts of the woods. You, leeches of the dark. But you bled beside us. You saved my people. He looked at Seraphine, now clad in white robes trimmed with fire gold. Her halberd was gone. She carried no weapon now, only wisdom. I propose a council, Aldrich said. One seat for each kingdom, human, vampire, werewolf. Together we decide how this realm is ruled. Together we preserve the peace. Rurik growled softly. And if the peace breaks? Then we hold each other accountable, Seraphine said. And remember what we fought for." Valor bowed his head. "So be it. A pact of three. Flame, Fang, and Shadow." That winter, the world began to change. The Triune Pact, as it came to be known, reshaped the kingdoms. Border wars stopped. Trade began. Vampires shared their ancient knowledge of medicine and architecture. Werewolves patrolled the wildlands, ending the bandit reign and keeping dark creatures at bay. Humans rebuilt cities with towers of silver wood and stone enchanted by moonlight. But not all welcomed the change. Some humans still feared the night. Some vampires still thirsted for more than peace. And some wolves believed they'd sacrificed too much of their wildness. Still, for the first time in 1,000 years, peace held. And it held because of what happened on the day the sky turned black. Seraphine did not stay in the palace. She wandered through burned forests and rebuilt villages. She spoke to widows and orphans, to soldiers and healers. She listened. In time, she became a myth, the Flame Reborn, the woman who carried no sword, who lit no fire, but whose presence warmed hearts and stilled fear. Kale went with her for a time, until he was named Master of Shadows, head of a new guild that served all three kingdoms, spies and peacekeepers, sworn to prevent another war from rising unseen. Elric returned to his tower, his library now expanded by tomes from both vampire crypts and werewolf oral traditions. He wrote the history of the war. He called it Ashes and Dawn. Sir Emmerich died in his sleep 5 years later, beneath a great oak planted atop the battlefield. A statue was carved in his honor, the shield that never fell. And in a quiet glade, far from cities and thrones, the crucible star was buried beneath a tree that bloomed golden in the moonlight. There it waited. Not as a weapon, but as a reminder. That peace, like fire, must be tended, or it dies.